Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Good Morning Sri Lanka. It is a Friday, the 26th of October, and if you managed to snatch that 4-day weekend, well, hope you're having a great start to your long weekend. And to our Muslim brothers and sisters, Eid Mubarak is also the start of the Hajj pilgrimage. So Eid Mubarak to all of you. And as we start of the program, we have some interesting stories we need to look at. These are the stories that made headlines for today, 26th of October, Friday. And on the major dailies, the headline reads, Bribery Commission takes ex-NSB chief to court. The commission to investigate into allegations of bribery or corruption filed a report in the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court against former NSB Chairman Pradeep Kariwayawasam, accusing him of causing a monetary loss of 391 million rupees to the government by the unlawful purchase of the finance company shares. Also, one of the stories on the front page, Constitution was violated, says GL Piris. The Judicial Service Commission had violated the Constitution by appointing Manjula Tilakaratna as its secretary, said External Affairs Minister GL Piris. Speaking in Parliament during the adjournment debate on the assault on Mr. Tilakaratna, the minister said that the Constitution had been violated by his appointment. Also, major bad news for what happened yesterday. Hospitals crippled due to docs' strike. Patients at Nuradapura Teaching Hospital were some of the most affected. Reading a little bit into this, thousands of patients at all government hospitals yesterday stood in long queues for hours but received no treatment due to the countrywide token strike by the doctors. It's bad news. Also, looking into a little bit of the oil crisis, Lanka's oil bill rises due to Iran crisis. Sri Lanka's oil bill has increased by a massive 1.2 billion rupees due to its inability to import Iran light crude due to the sanctions imposed by the United States against the country. And the final story that we'd like to look at is in the inside page for the daily. It reads, Railway stations island-wide to be enhanced. A quick look at the stats here. Railway stations in the country. There are 160 total number of railway stations and 150 substations. A little bit into the story. As part of a new plan to improve railway stations countrywide, the Railway Department said it has begun a competition for station masters to encourage them to establish the cleanest, most beautiful railway station with the best services. So, looking forward to that. There's spanking clean railway stations. Now, moving on to the business section of the dailies. $300 million from ADB to overhaul of aging water sewer systems in Colombo. The Asian Development Bank is providing $300 million in loans to overhaul the quality, coverage, and management of water and wastewater services in Colombo. Parts of Colombo's water supply distribution network are over 100 years old, and some areas only get water for less than half the day, while the sewer network suffers from frequent collapses and blockages. That's according to the urban development specialist. Also, further reforms underway, says CB. Encouraged by major strides, the central bank said yesterday, further reforms are currently being undertaken to improve the country's business environment and doing business ranking, which would enhance the efficiency and productivity of businesses in Sri Lanka. So there we go. And now moving on to the sports section, little quick flip with the dailies. Vettel is new German Mr. Formula One, according to Schumacher. In the long term, I think he should go on to become Germany's Mr. Formula One. That's Vettel is on course to claim his third World Drivers' Championship. With 4 Grand Prix races left before his second retirement, 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher has said Sebastian Vettel is his obvious successor as Germany's Mr. Formula One. Sebastian is an obvious role model, according to Schumacher, and I also think he will win this year's title. He has the right conditions for it. So that's good news. And a little bit, regarding our squad, injured Mendes left out of the Lankan squads against the Kiwis. Uncapped spinners Tarindo Kaushal and Akila Dhananjaya picked for the first 3 one-day matches. Injured Sri Lanka spinner Ajanta Mendes has been left out of 2020 and one-day squads to play New Zealand. Mendes has not fully recovered from a side strain picked up during Sri Lanka's opening World T20 match against Zimbabwe on September 18, although he missed only one game and played in the rest of the tournament to finish as the top wicket taker with 15 wickets and an average of 9.80. And speaking of our squad, our boys, today also happens to be the birthday of Mr. Kumar Sangakkara. So happy birthday to you. Now, let's look at what's happening in the U.S. with 11 days to go before they decide as to who's going to lead them and who's going to be officially the most powerful man in the world. According to a story, former Secretary of State Colin Powell, a longtime Republican, is sticking with President Barack Obama in this year's election. He said he respects fellow Republican Mitt Romney, but thinks he's been vague on many issues. He also said that the president got the United States out of Iraq, has laid out the plan for leaving Afghanistan, and didn't get us into any new wars. He praised Obama's economic performance, saying while difficult choices are ahead on taxes, spending and budgetary policies, steadily I think we've begun to come out of dive and we're gaining altitude. Obama later called Colin Powell to thank him. So that's one story. Now, an interesting one. If you haven't heard, it seems like Donald Trump has got a major bone to pick with the president, and he has always been questioning President Barack Obama as to his citizenship. Now, he has offered $5 million to the charity of the president's choice in exchange for the release of Obama's college and passport application, which was mocked mercilessly on Twitter. Now, what happened? President Barack Obama was a guest on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. He has simply laughed it off, joking that the bad blood between him and the real estate mogul turned birther conspiracy theorist dates back when they were growing up in Kenya. Barack Obama is the least transparent president in the history of this country, Trump said in a video shot from his New York office. And if Barack Obama opens up and gives his college records and applications, and if he gives his passport application and records, I will give to a charity of his choice, inner city children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS research, anything he wants, a check immediately for $5 million. Well, it seems that the president has no plans of actually taking up on the offer. And also an interesting development due to, remember, during the first debate, Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney questioned the funding for PBS, which actually funds Sesame Street. Hence, everyone's talking about the death of Sesame Street. So it seems it's going through. It's all about toys. So when Mitt Romney accused President Barack Obama during Monday's debate of spending too little on military by pointing out that Navy has fewer ships now than it did in 1916, the president delivered his now famous hashtag wordy line, "We also have fewer horses and bayonets," explaining that aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines have essentially rendered certain naval ships unnecessary. The question is not a game of battleship, which is, as you know, is a popular game, where we're counting ships, thus evoking memories of the popular game. And according to a major toy manufacturer, they're getting free publicities from all this talk about the Sesame Street, Battleship, and everything else. It all boils down to toys. Very interesting development. So that's the stories making their ways to the headlines for today, Friday. When we come back, we will have a very interesting conversation with a gentleman that will be proudly representing the country sometime this month. Next month, that is.